I
thought
know.
Jay was going to introduce this episode, didn't you, baby? Random.
I don't know what all I heard was, yeah. I don't know if you said yerp or yep.
Bro, I made that noise for my dog so that other people couldn't repeat it. And so they would come to me if people couldn't do it. You can learn it, but it's not a natural thing you do.
My
but
dog.
Them mugs run up
dog.
quick.
My dog. You like I did that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. Welcome to another episode. How y'all feeling?
Good.
Good.
I see you over there bouncing your chest, my boy.
Back outside again.
That's how you feeling?
Well, it's just the push-ups got me sore. I be trying to stretch them out in between, but you just called them out.
I love
I really
it,
be
though.
forgetting that I do it.
I
And then
love
you said,
it.
I was just like, dang, I forgot we recorded. So if he can see it, they
Bop,
can
bop,
too.
bop, bop.
Okay,
Right.
my bad.
Yeah, no, I feel good, man. Excited.
I can't
Back
undo it.
outdoors, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Summertime, next level living, summertime edition. You feel me?
What's
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I think that like where we going in this new season, not just of the podcast, but in life, it's about to get real interesting. As long as we stay locked in, like we're gonna be all the way Gucci. But the team really has me like hypersensitive on locking in what's the main agenda, what's really moving the needle, and really taking a good inventory of my mental bandwidth, the energy, the resources that we putting out here, and really making sure we're putting things where it need to be. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Y'all look good.
Bro, you look good, dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, but man,
Yeah.
it's mutual, my boy.
My boy. Yeah.
All right,
and Chris,
then.
you brought the full LA vibes to Atlanta.
Sure did. Yes.
Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
It really is hot in Atlanta.
Yeah, it is.
Hot Atlanta for
It
sure.
is. It is.
Okay.
What
so
make the
then-
city even hotter is if you moved here. I'm still lobbying for that.
Mike, what was that?
No, it wasn't nothing.
I can see it,
okay.
Chris.
Just thought y'all was over
When
here
you,
telling
I
jokes.
believe you're going to get to a point where you're going to feel like I need to be more around my family.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of LA vibes here
Where?
in our backyard,
Okay.
but that's about it. But the
So-
city,
Y'all,
it's a different type of energy, though. Okay.
y'all building a house back here for me?
We working on that.
Talk to Nicole.
We working on that. You know what I'm saying?
Talk to the core
All right,
four,
what we talking
baby.
about today?
Good opportunities versus God opportunities. So good opportunities, come and go, but is it of God? Is it of your purpose? Is it of your, your calling, your ministry? So I want to talk about maybe a few different opportunities that were good opportunities, but weren't necessarily aligned with your calling with God. So, for example, the trucking company. I know you recently disbanded that. Can you tell us what that was like for you and whether or not it was a good versus God opportunity, or, to give us some more details about that?
Yeah, so, our trucking company, Next Level Trucking Co., we started it maybe 18. And, I was traveling, speaking, and, it's like you get to a point, it's like you get one gig, it's like, man, this could pay my bills for the next few months. So it's like you blessed with all these extra resources. So we're trying to figure out, like, how do I diversify? And so shout out to my bro Alex with Good Energy. He got a course. I paid the top package. I paid 10 grand. This is before we were friends, for him to mentor me and give me the game. And now we went from a mentor to friends to now business partners. We started another company together, me, him, and CJ, and Jamal, Toby, a few others, an advertising agency. But, I started the trucking company. We bought the first truck. We stacked our bread. We didn't eat our seeds. We put it back into the business. We bought 2 more trucks. You know what I'm saying? I bought my mama a truck. I was like, hey, so now this thing gonna just make money. You ain't gotta worry about nothing. So we rolling. And everything was cool and the money was good. It just got to a point where I seen the stress it had Tracy under. And I'm trying to cut all stress. I'm trying to cut all threats. Like I wasn't feeling that. So I had to get to a point where I was like, you know what? I am going to make a decision soon. Do we get 2-3 more trucks and have an even bigger fleet? Because we hired somebody. Shout out to my man, Eric Sikowski. Love that dude, man. He got 33 years in the trucking industry. 22 years on the road driving, 8 years of compliance and safety manager. Like, we couldn't have asked for a better director of operations. So he worked for us full time, and he did all the day-to-day stuff, but there were still some things that Tracy had to do. And it just got to a point where it was almost like it was emotionally and mentally draining. Like, if a driver have an accident or something like this happened or that happened, it was just like, it was good money, but for where we are in our life, how do I say this without people taking it the wrong way? I needed to be significant, because I'm not doing things just for money anymore. So if it's not significant money, now if it had been significant money 5 years ago, that's different than how I look at money now. So for me, it was like, I don't want to trade money for time in a sense. And that's one thing Chris and Nick have been helping me with. Or for peace, right. And so I wasn't sure. But we got to a point I was like, okay, it's time to put a pause on this. It was good. We made great money. It was a cool experience. You know what I'm saying? But I talked to one of my homeboys, Matthew, and his wife, Fabi. They do amazing work. He's got a show on HGTV, and his wife's a fitness like coach, and she has her own program. But I saw an interview one time. My man was saying how they had 7 failed businesses. 7. He's like, but we got 3 very successful, multiple 7 figures. I'm just like, man, that was refreshing to hear. Because I didn't want to get out of the trucking, because I don't want to be a quitter. I don't want to quit. I didn't want to give up, but I felt like where I'm moving now is just really what's best for my family and not. So I had to eventually get to a point where I was like, yo, I got to make that move.
Yeah, and it's levels to it. Because, you know, last time you were like, I'm into making money so that I can take care of other people. But now it's like you're taking care of other people by not adding that stress, even if it is bringing money. So that's a new level that you've reached, too, in your journey.
Yeah.
Okay, can you think of another time where you made a God decision instead of a good decision?
Well, and let me say this. Sometimes I don't even be knowing for sure what's a for sure good or God decision. So I'll be asking him to make decisions for me. Like I had to ask for a sign.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying, for this?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure. Because you hear people in business all the time where it's like, it wasn't worth my while. It was stressful. But I made some adjustments and I figured it out. So I was really like, yo, God, are you in this? Should I quit? And so every morning, me and the family pray before we even leave the house. We in the kitchen. We packing lunch or day camp or whatever, food for the day. We hold hands, we pray. And I'm like, I specifically remember that morning saying, yo, God, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Do you want us to get 2-3 more trucks and just build it out? So if 2-3 trucks are in the shop or broken down, we still got 3 other trucks rolling. Like, what do you want me to do, God? I was really confused. And so I was like, give me a sign. Do we get out and just sell the company off, or do we keep moving forward? And in that same night, I got a picture at 10:30. Now, I didn't see the picture till the next morning because I'd be going to sleep early.
Right.
And I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. But I got a picture from one of my drivers where our trailer was full on fire.
Well, no way.
Our whole truck was up in flames.
Jesus.
And I'm like, man, if that ain't a sign, I don't know what is.
Right after you just asked for one.
I'm like, yo, God, give me a sign. I don't know what's best.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I'm gonna give you a sign.
Yeah.
It's gonna be loud and clear. You can't avoid this sign. And guess what the trailer was carrying?
What?
A trailer full of cooking oil. A 52-foot long trailer filled with cooking oil. Probably the worst thing. What's worse than that? Gasoline? Cooking oil, which is why it went up in flames so quick. When my driver pulled over, he saw that it was a little smoke. So he drove maybe a quarter mile to it was a safe space to pull over. By the time he got out, that sucker the front of the trailer was in flames. By the time he pulled his phone out and got to a safe position to take the picture, half the trailer was up in flames.
Wow.
Within like 45 seconds.
That's crazy.
And so I was like, oh, we're canceling. We're calling it quits on the trucking company.
Wow.
And I remember telling Tracy the next day, it's some things I don't need to get approval from my girl on.
Yeah.
We ain't got to be in one accord because I already know.
Yeah.
I said, hey, babe, that's a wrap. It's time to dismantle the trucking company.
Yeah.
We sell off our assets. Her response, oh, praise God.
Wow.
Like she was so relieved.
Wow.
And at that time as a husband, I felt bad. I felt like, man, like she was quick to be like, huh, thank God.
Wow.
So I knew that was a good decision.
Wow.
And so for me, it's like, it was a good thing. And maybe even a God thing, but then there are seasons when things change. Because what we experience now, what he has for us now, it might be different. He don't change. His ways and methods don't change, but his plan for us in the season that we're in will change.
Yeah.
He's the same God today, yesterday, and forevermore, but we still have different seasons that we have to go through. We have different climates.
Yeah.
We have different terrains that we have to, trail through. So for me, I had to say, you know what? Let me phase out and prioritize my energy, my resources somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
And you were also able to bless people with the sale of your trucks too, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And because we had made so much money off the trucks and we paid it down, we actually came out really nicely once we sold off our trucks and trailers.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so, because it was like you got equity in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that was a major blessing. And so I tell people all the time to be mindful of where you put your energy, what you have going on, what adjustments you should make, you know what I'm saying, and really take inventory of what you putting out in the
Right.
bandwidth you have. And so for me, man, when I made that move, I knew for me, in order for my family to go to the next level, I need Tracy to be in a good place,
Yeah.
right? I need her to, you know what I'm saying, have that good energy. I need her to, you know what I'm saying, be in a better spirit and not be so bogged down by dodo things and not really moving the needle. Who cares about more money in the account if it takes away your peace and your joy?
Yeah.
So just because it make dollars don't mean it makes sense.
Oh, come on, double entendre. I hear you.
Yeah,
Sense,
because some
change.
people
Okay.
flip it. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. I would say just because it make dollars,
It
it don't mean it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do things just for money anymore. It needs to be some type of impact that's being happened, some type of value that I'm adding in pursuit of the bag.
And that doesn't mean what I'm listening to you. It doesn't mean that it was a bad investment. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have served its purpose for the time that it served its purpose. But
Absolutely.
one thing I'm truly becoming more of a believer of now is that sometimes a blessing that's run its course and that goes over time can become a curse.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times we think that a blessing just stays a blessing. Oh, no. That comes with instruction, comes with obedience, and it also comes with acceptance at the fact that it's run its course and it's on to the next thing. And I think that the fact that you're able to make a decision on something that you were so confident about going into, something that y'all felt so good about, something you even done your research and invested for it to be a good thing for you, for it to come to an end, and for it to have peace with it, and to trust God, and then to get that validation from your wife, from Tracy, that, man, thank God, I'm done with this. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point where you kind of felt bad, like maybe you held on to it too long, but the fact that you let it go,
Yeah.
especially when it's profitable like that. And I heard you say like money don't mean the same now. Like if it was 5 years ago, it might have been tougher, but God, once again, God will bless you with what he can trust you with.
Right. And 5 years ago, I probably would have stayed in it longer because I really needed the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Which
saying?
means the
Because I
stress
wasn't as diverse.
and the
right.
peace would have been harder to obtain because you'd have been clinging to something that was actually providing a way for something else that might have looked like a blessing but held on too long.
You know why I also think like we hung on for so long? Man, bro, I'm loyal. As Kropp would say, I'm loyal to the soil. So this guy, shout out Eric Sikowski, man, again, our director of operations. I didn't have the heart to be like, hey, bro, we shutting down the company. Let me tell you something, Nick. We so cold with it that when we went through the pandemic and we went through like a weird season and trucks were still moving and booming, we put in place a minimum that he would get every month, even if he didn't meet whatever quotas.
Wow.
Because I'm like, bro, I don't want
Just
the
to make
industry.
sure he's good.
Right. You
Yeah,
feel me?
man.
Like, bro, you walked away from 6 figures as a premier
Wow.
Class A driver,
Yeah.
like top flight driver, bro. Like he was a Tom Cruise of trucking, like the LeBron James of trucking. Like he was that guy.
Wow.
You walk away from that for a young black couple that you believed in. This is an older white man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He in his 50s. Let me say that. So he ain't old like that because I'm in my
Yeah.
40s now. But I mean, older
You
than
old,
me.
Jay.
Huh?
No, I was just sitting there Testing
I'm
the
swole?
mic.
Or you say, oh.
Oh, you're not saying you swole. That's
Yeah, you
true.
say I'm-
He swole. He definitely swole, man.
So-
Looking good in that shirt.
That boy
That's
say
my
you
guy.
old.
Nah, you that's my hey, you swole,
I
boy.
believe you. There we go. Okay. but
You grown.
so for someone like him, like we done took his wife to dinner. We built a relationship with him for years. And I feel like he always felt like whenever things were dry, he's like, I'm doing my best, boss. I'm doing the best I can to make sure I come through for you.
Wow.
I'm like, bro, I already know. Like, I ain't tripping on you. The rates are not the best because of the time of the year. I was like, bro, I get it. So we put that in place. And I was just like, bro, I'm going to honor the commitment. And so as loyal, peep game, right? As loyal as I wanted to be to him, I got to first be loyal to my wife.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I just because it was a little anxiety. I ain't gonna lie.
Of course.
I've been carrying a weight here lately just because there's so many people that depending on me.
Yeah.
I felt a little anxiety, but it wasn't but God was like, yo, let me handle that. You forget, son, I'm the same God
Yeah.
that when you was gonna have that conference and then ET had a conference a week before, you were stressed.
Yeah.
I'm the same God that I can bless both events.
Right.
I'm the same God. I'm gonna take care of Egg Sikowski and his family. I'm gonna find another company for him to work for. I'm actually gonna go through you and some of your connects and your relationships. And so you're gonna dismantle this and y'all gonna come up big time financially when y'all sell the trucks and you're gonna be able to be a blessing to my man and move him on. And that's exactly what happened. So that's why I put everything at the feet of God, man. I'm just like, I can't win. Even in losing, I can't lose.
Yeah.
Like the company failed, but I still came out a winner.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, man. And we needed that come up because we probably put about 132,000 in the trucking within the 2 years of just things that need to get done. Like if the company owed us.
Yeah.
And that's the raw truth about it. Like I see why a lot of people start trucking companies and get into business, but then they end up failing. It's like, because if something go wrong, if you don't have that capital to pull from, but when me and Tracy did the numbers, we was like, yo, the company owes us $132,000.
Wow.
I was just like, because things happen. You got to get things done, and drivers get sick, and drivers get COVID, and you got to fire drivers, and then you got a truck that's been sitting up for 2 months, but that truck still got to get paid, and you know what I'm saying? You got insurance and healthcare. It's a lot.
That's real.
And so it takes that money. That's why I tell people all the time, like, yo, live below your means, play it safe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you never know what's gonna come up. But this is just a part of being in business.
Yeah.
But God was like, but this is also a part of being in alignment with me.
Yeah.
Oof.
And knowing clearly what I'm telling you to do and when that season has passed. Because I don't never want to stay in the season and I don't never want to be out of season.
Yeah.
Because that's when I lose my seasoning. You know what I'm saying? That's when I lose my flavor. You feel me? Like I don't never want to be out of season. I want to always be in season. And so that way,
Hey, what's up?
yeah. So that's it. I can't really think of too many other times in business. And I think next week I want to talk about how and why I turned down the $1 million contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much more time we got on this episode, Jay? What do you mean? That's juice. Like, I'm tired of the previews.
Okay.
We got about 10 minutes. That probably ain't enough, huh?
Yeah,
Golly,
yeah.
Jay,
But
why would you do that?
one other, I would say, God decision was bringing on Chris and Nicole
Oh, hands down.
versus a good decision with, somebody who could have done the job, but not brought the same spirit.
I'll share it now. That's it. Could have did the same job, but not brought the same spirit. Might not have felt. It might not fit. Like Nick, she fits.
Yeah, she fit.
And she over delivers. Like,
Yes.
everybody has their own special relationship with Nick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we acknowledge her as her boss. We respect her like that. But it's really dope to not have to walk the halls of your boss and turn the other way. Like, people don't understand.
Right.
Like, don't nobody like they boss in the world. Like, bro, like that. Like, let's just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we got a company event. Okay, I'm gonna see her there. Okay, cool.
Right.
We eating
Right,
together.
right,
Okay,
right,
have a
right,
cute
right.
laugh. But I see you in the elevator. I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna take my elevator next.
Right.
You know
If
what
you're
I'm
not
saying?
acting like I left my phone in my room.
I don't
'Cause I ain't
accidentally
tryna
want to
be-
have private time with you. I don't like this. It makes me
That's
nervous.
funny.
You know, it's your boss.
Yeah.
But in the spirit and just the over deliverance of who she is, her heart, and her intention, the way she moves with everybody, makes you feel safe to be yourself and even let you operate in the element that you was brought in to do. And I just think that it's just an amazing joy to have her and Chris have them leading out and actually running the
Absolutely.
organization, man. It's just it's dope to be under them, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, and again, that was something I wouldn't even have known.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Chris knew, which is why it was heavy on his heart. He was humble enough to say, I feel like God is saying we got to be connected on another way, but I'm not really sure what that looks like. And I was humble enough to be like, I ain't got all the answers, but I believe you to be a man of God. And we dapped up. I don't think we held hands, but we like at least knuckled up. We touched and agreed and prayed right there in the kitchen. And then we look up 6 months later and we got the core 4.
And you, I'm glad you said y'all dapped up, because I was about to say, don't get it twisted. You said, let's pray about it. One thing I hear you say a lot about, whether it's a small decision or whether it's a big decision, you're like, hey man, let's pray about it. Let's see what happens. You're like, you always give God permission to have the final say.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like this goes into what Crump says all the time, is that Jay has his own algorithm. And I think it's because even with the COO and with the head of the elite and the whole program, the core 4 are all in conjunction and knowing that nothing happens without God.
Right.
Like that energy right there. I just, it's crazy as it sounds. Like, we come from a church background, we do a lot of stuff, but I don't hear people operate in that spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I can hear people say, well, God told me to tell you this. But how many times does it feel different when God told you something he ain't tell me?
Right.
When it don't sit with the whole group, when
Right.
everything ain't aligned, it's just your will and you just happen to be the boss. So, since God told you, I guess this is what we doing. Next thing you see division, or you see people falling apart, and it's just like, it's a difference between giving God credit or putting God's name on blast. It's another thing for actually giving God control.
Right.
And I feel like the reason why God is honoring you and really allowing this thing to go to the next level is because you're giving him permission to succeed or to break all this stuff up.
Yeah.
It's only the reason. It's if I'm from looking from my perspective, bro. I've seen you let go of people you love. Like, the only reason that this thing can be successful is because you're trusting God to do what it is that you can.
That's it.
I love it, bro.
Yep,
And
that's
on
it.
this side, a lot of people don't see, before we start every podcast, we're praying. Before you do any team meeting, you're praying. Like, God is in the center of everything that you do. And so for people that are building, that are spiritual, that don't necessarily incorporate God on their daily, and they know that they're connected to the source, but they don't want to bring it into the workspace. Listen, I feel like there might be a little bit of room for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it for sure, and definitely in their personal lives.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, but I just don't want to make good decisions. I need to make God decisions.
Yeah.
And for me, I realize there are different seasons and there are different times when he's like, nope, I'm not doing this. Okay, I am now doing this. And then I have to sometimes have hard conversations like, okay, but Jay, why are you doing this? Like, let's look at your motives. Let's look at what's motivating you. Like, what's fueling you, you know what I'm saying, to do this particular thing. Like, check your heart.
Yeah.
So there are times when I have to go through that just to make sure, you know, I don't manipulate myself into something else. Or then I act like, oh, God ain't say that. So for me, man, I just want to be in alignment, and I just want to win on every single level. And I need to make sure I'm in tune with myself and my family and my wife and our kids, and make sure we're in a good, safe space, because that's my first agenda.
Yeah.
And so I realized the trucking company, even though it was making money, I realized this could threaten my family. This thing that's bringing in revenue could threaten my family. This could threaten my wife. This could threaten her health. Could threaten what we're building. You know what I'm saying? Like, the anxiety level is too high.
Yeah.
So God, you ain't in this.
Yeah.
This ain't something you have for me. And then that part, and I wrestled with that, because I was like, but I hear all these amazing people when I be at these events, they speak before or after me, or we on panels together, and their testimony is, this happened, that happened. And for 6 years, everything was just in the gutter and struggling and failing, and nothing was working, and we just never quit and hung in there. Now we got, you know what I'm saying, a fleet of 600 trucks, and you know what I'm saying, we making, you know what I'm saying, $28 million a year, and blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here thinking like, so I'm like, oh God, so what we going through now, it's not conveniencing, it's not worth the money or my time, but it's just like a means to an end.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't know. But I'm like, but you know everything, God.
Fact.
What is your will here? There are sometimes I feel like God is like, nah, son, it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But sometimes he's like, nah, this is not for you. And so when I asked him and I said, give me a sign, he knew my heart. That'd be my biggest beef sometime with God. I'm like, man, be crystal clear.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to do. But can you just be crystal clear?
Yeah.
Like, do I got to fast and pray, sackcloth and ashes? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
Then tell me what you want me to do, big guy, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But then there are times he's like, really? Are you really going to do it, though?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the place now where I'm like, tell me what you want me to do. Give me a sign. And when that sucker was on fire the same day,
Yeah, you can't
carrying gasoline, I said, man, you the drama king, bro. You the drama king,
Ooh,
God.
that was a seasonal
Way to
blessing.
get my attention, huh?
So that was a seasonal blessing. Blessing when you
Man.
first started.
He was
but
like,
then it
yeah,
turned
it's
into
time to
something
transition.
else.
And I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And I gained relationships, you know, and I believe we got stronger as a couple. We got stronger. You know, I said there were some things we had to, when you filing insurance claims and you're dealing
Yeah.
with attorneys, like that made us grow up.
Wow.
Like, yo, we had multiple trucks on the road, a for sure logistics trucking company. That made us grow up as business. We know what it takes to grow
Yeah.
a successful trucking business. We just had a lot going on, and it wasn't worth the money for where we are.
Yeah.
Because I literally said, I could look at all the money that we would gross from this whole month. I could do one gig and make that. And I was like, whoa. I could do one gig and make 20, 30 grand, and what I profited in 1 month, but it took a month of this, a month of payroll, a month of headaches, a month of emails my wife got to respond, a month of people calling her, JB on train can't find the freight, we dealing with this person, we got to interview this driver. I'm like, $20,000 a month don't move me no more.
Worth it. Yeah.
You know, because of where I am. That's what I'm saying to our listeners, our viewers, I'm just sharing my journey.
Yeah.
Y'all might be thinking like, nigga, $20,000 a month. Like I could, but for me, I was just like, it's just not worth that. It's not worth it for what it was causing us.
Yeah, true.
And so I said, in this season, I got to be faithful with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You had different conversations. If you meet with a billionaire, I can't have conversations with a billionaire because they talking differently.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, that costs $1,500. They like, what you?
Well, you can't have the
Like-
same
For
conversations.
dinner costs $1,500. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like they
they're
don't
like,
even.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
True,
shoe
true,
costs
true.
But
You
but
can talk to
so
anybody,
so
though.
so though so all of our listeners and our viewers, I don't want there to be a disconnect when we begin to talk about numbers or put dollar signs on it. I think if you could just focus on, and like with microcrystal, it's the theory, it's the notion, it's the concept of saying there are some things that are seasonal. There's a science and an art and a purity saying, hey, what's best for my wife? What's best for my kids? What's best for my family? What's the best use of my time? What's the best use of my energy? What's the best use of my resources? And really putting ourselves in that position where we say, okay, what's best here? What should I do? What should I not do? I feel like, and everybody can experience that. Whether you're dealing with a company or assets, you have to just ask yourself like, yo, is this a good thing or is this a God
Or
thing?
is it a God thing?
Yeah.
Just like that. So I'm in a place now where I'm just like, psh, God, you know, I don't want to quit. I don't want to pivot. But if you got something else in store for me, I just want to be in alignment with you. So
Yeah.
when I read that one time, Chris, the word of God says that when we was in our mother's wombs, he knew of us and approved of us. The plans I have for you, plans to give you a hope in the future, I really be forgetting. I'd be like, yo, God,
Spiritual amnesia.
bruh, spiritual amnesia.
Yeah.
I'm sitting thinking like, you mean to tell me when my mama was running around Dallas, Texas, 16 years old with a big old belly, you already had a plan for my life? Before she even named me Jeremy Jermaine. Like before I even wrote my first book, before I even had my first kiss, before I had my first job interview, like before I bought my first house, like you had already had a plan for me before I was walking, before I was in diapers. So I'm just like, what plan you got?
Yeah.
Because your plan way crazier than. So I'll say that for you, Chris and Mike. You be like, okay, God, but what plans do you have for me? Okay,
Yeah.
year of the jump man. I can't wait for 2023. Nick, it's gonna be crazy. Year of the jump man. Everybody should be asking themselves, okay, God, what does my 2023 look like?
Yeah.
And can I be faithful with that?
Yeah.
There was a time when I was hoping, I was praying like, man, God, if I could just make $500 a week, I'm Gucci.
Yeah.
Then you grow and you get to, man, God, if I could just make $500 a day, I'd be Gucci. Then you grow to, man, God, if I could just make $500 in an hour. Like you grow.
Yeah.
I forgot how much they say Elon and Oprah and all them make. like thousands of dollars per minute, something stupid.
Second,
They want
probably,
to slap
bro.
somebody. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, let me wrap this episode up and just say this here. You know, saying the art of good versus God. Everybody that's listening, shout out to all of our next levelers watching us on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that's listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening to your podcast. There are things that you might be doing that's good. It's not evil. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But God is like, that's not optimal for you. That's not the best plan for you. It's like you put food in your body. You might be eating some McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's going, you could have that and then not die because you could starve.
Yeah.
Or you could put premium cut of meat and the freshest vegetables and grass fed.
Organic,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
organic. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, yo, you can make good decisions or you can make the pure, powerful, the holy, the anointed decisions, like good or God decisions. And so there are seasons. And so I would always tell everybody to take an audit of your season and take an inventory of where you put your energy, you put your time, you put your resources, and make whatever adjustments you got to make to go to the next level. That's what next level living is all about. It's constantly making adjustments, always grateful,
Never settle.
always grateful.
Never settle.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the concept of next level living, man. That's what we talking about. We'll see y'all next week.
I'm on another level.